Today I'm going to review the book A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, which is a very controversial book. It was a very controversial film that was hugely successful. I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis of what the storyline is. It's basically, our main character is called Alex. Him and his friends go around every night beating up whoever they can and raping women. Then Alex gets put into prison for his crimes and for one specific crime, and they decide that they're going to put him on a reform program so he can get out of prison earlier. Now this program is they're using him kind of like a lab rat, doing medical examinations on him and putting through these different tests to try and stop him from doing any more violence. And so when he thinks of violence, he feels incredibly sick, and so he will not act upon it. The last bit of the book is about him coming out of the reform and going into the world and how the world perceives him, because obviously he was a terrible criminal, and so how they feel about him re-entering the community, how he feels about himself, and then something else happens right at the end. So there's a brief outline of the plot and what it's about. If you want to go and read it, then go and read it. I'm now going to go a bit more in depth, but I'm not going to go spoilery, but I just want to kind of examine the themes. You know me, I can't just give a review. I want to talk about this in life. I want to talk about Anthony, why he wrote this book, because there was a very specific and strong reason why he wrote this book, and I want to talk about the writing style. So we're going to start with the writing style. It's not really written in plain English. He has abbreviated certain words. Certain words, when you read them, you can understand what they're saying, but they're not words within English, so you can do kind of word association with them. Other ones you can't, because he was really into language linguistics, and so some of it is based on Russian literature and Russian language, which I have no kind of concept of that. So there's a word in it which is like Lenova, and they go to the Lenova bar, but Lenova is a Russian word for cow, and the bar they go to is a milk bar, and so you'd obviously have to know Russian language to get that. Now our main character is supposed to be highly intelligent, and he listens to classical music and everything, but this is the way he speaks. Then there was like choir, and we were full of like hate, so we smashed what was left to be smashed. Very simplistic way of writing. The whole thing is narrated from him in this kind of what I would say is baby speech style of writing, and so they were saying he was intelligent, but they weren't showing us that he was intelligent, and that was a big problem I had throughout the whole of the book. He's also the ringleader, but he's kind of not, because there's incidents where, because it's narrated from him, it's very biased to him. So he's like, everyone respects me like a god, and then you'll have a scene where one of them's like, Alex, you need to stop being so bossy because you're not the leader. And it's like, whoa, like he doesn't understand the world or his relationship towards other people, and that's very interesting when it's pointed out to him, but then it is not commentated on at all. Going back to what I said the book was about at the beginning, about these boys going out, attacking people, raping women, that's not really explained. It's just like that happens, but you don't find out the repercussions of their actions because it's told from Alex's narrative point of view, and that I kind of had a problem with. I also think the style of writing softened the blow of what was being said. So when they were describing raping someone, they would never use those words. They would use very childish words to convey it. So maybe that was why that language was used, so we could understand it more, so people wouldn't be turned off and just put the book down. But nothing was really explained. It was never explained why he did what he did. And I'm going to say something which I'll probably never say again on this channel, and that is, this book could have been longer, and I think should have been longer. Now every single book I'm like, could have knocked 100 pages off that. Not this. So now on to the bit where I'm going to argue with the author. Anthony Burgess wrote this book. This book is set in the future, and he was worried that because we have a high reoffend rate in the UK, and the government was going to bring in some kind of program, some kind of brainwashing or hypnotising thing to do to criminals in prison, so that when they came out of prison they would not continue to do the crimes that they had done. If you've got someone who keeps on raping women, they've been put in prison, they've been punished for it, they come out of prison, they keep on reoffending, surely prison doesn't work and we have to use something a lot more drastic. Now that's a very kind of odd thing to say, and very people think of criminal punishment and all this different stuff, but you can't have people reoffending continually. You just can't have that. We're supposed to live in a society. So that's when I would argue with Anthony. Hello, this is kind of a side note to the video you're watching. I'm currently editing that video. I'm going to read you a quote that sums up what his point was, which is, I was trying to say that it is better to be bad of one's own free will than to be good through scientific brainwashing. Now, I would personally disagree with that. If we take Alex as an example, he is a serial rapist. So he's saying Alex is a serial rapist and he's using his freedom, of which we all have, to cause bad, to cause violence, to cause destruction, to ruin other people's lives. But at least he's using his own free will. And if he was a zombie just walking around and didn't have an opinion and wasn't causing harm to anyone, then that would be worse, because everyone should have an opinion and everyone should be able to use their own free will. And I would argue you can't just let him continue to do that within our communities, because it is too serious a crime. So if prison is not going to work, maybe we have to find another medium that will work, or keep him within prison, because surely that's better than destroying communities. That's just my opinion. Tell me in the comments your opinion. Sorry, my camera's just decided to go blurry. Sorry about that. But anyway, to summarise, I thought this was a very good book. I think it's very interesting. I don't agree with Anthony Burgess. The one thing I would say is on the very last page of the book, he says it's kind of something he wants to do, and he talks about that. And I felt that was a very kind of old-fashioned, misogynistic viewpoint. Just the structuring of that thing, I found that very odd. But overall, this was a very good book. I did enjoy it. I feel like it could have been longer and explored certain things a little bit further, but it was good. It is worth a read. It is worth your time.